This is a shift that I had to realize, and it's so funny because it was a shift that kept being introduced to me over the years that I was entertaining and trying to help people who didn't want to help themselves. And because I was helping those people, it was slowing down my progress. I gotta love living somewhere where there's always construction. I wrote a few notes about it. And if you can hear construction, I'm so sorry in advance. But everyone absolutely can't go because it takes less energy to pull someone down who's up than it does to pull someone up that's down. Unless that person shows interest and momentum going in the same direction that you're going in, they're only going to stagnate you. They're going to delay your process. They're going to make it harder for you to get to where you're actually trying to get to. And I don't think they necessarily mean it, but they're just not ready. And I believe that certain levels of awareness gives us certain ability to see certain things. So sometimes when we want to help people, they simply can't see what we see because they're not designed to see it yet. I believe that everyone who comes to this reality is not necessarily ready to take the next steps forward. Some people are just here, they just floating, and then some people are here with a mission. One thing that you want to keep in mind whenever you're in this season where you're realizing that you're helping people who are unwilling to be helped and therefore you are being slowed down in the process is to understand that sometimes it's pruning season. I love doing pruning season throughout the span of a year, but my favorite time to do it and my most intentional time of doing it is the end of the year. End of the year, I am auditing my friends list. I'm auditing my behaviors, the things that I do, the things I engage with, the activities, my hobbies, my work, everything, even romantic relationships. I'm auditing everything to see where you fit in the story, where do you fit in the puzzle. And I don't want it to be where I'm so hell bent on things going well, or I'm always focused on ascension that I'm not actually allowing myself to have relationships for relationships' sake. But I'm not really a relationships for relationships' sake kind of person. I don't want a friend just to say I have a friend. I don't want a partner just to say I have a partner because I am whole within myself. So, pruning season is about pretty much cutting people off or cutting situations or habits off that are not a part of the program. At very least, if you don't want to cut the people off or cut the habit off, maybe you just give it a new assignment. Maybe that's not your bestie. Maybe she's just the girl that you love talking to about content. Maybe y'all just love talking. Maybe I just love going out to eat. Put people and places and habits in certain categories so that they're not a part of your day to day, but they still get to be a part of your life. Then treat it accordingly. And it doesn't mean that you're being nasty or rude to this person. It's just that you are putting this thing where it belongs. And it's as simple as that. Now, I do think that it's important to do like consistent check ins with, in conjunction with the work that your friends say that they're doing. If all of you are saying that you're in your level up journey, and or even if you're not saying it, but you're doing the work that reflects people who are on the journey of leveling up. And if a person is not doing the work, fine. But that if they start hindering your progress, that's when you need to start thinking about it. If you guys are locking in, but now all of a sudden they're asking you to come out on Saturday night, knowing that both of y'all said y'all will lock in, it's time to put that person in a different category. And they might can graduate again, but right now they need to be over here because they are a distraction. The lock in is not for the weak. It's not. The lock in is not for the people who aren't willing to do the work, and the lock in is not for people who aren't willing to make the sacrifices that's needed in this particular level. We want to limit distractions as much as possible. And if a person, a place, a habit, a thing is a distraction, then it needs to be given a place or it needs to be taken out of the program for it to thrive. So it's not goodbye forever for everyone. Sometimes it's just goodbye for now. Sometimes they are a seasonal friend. Maybe whenever I give myself more of the rest over the summer, we can hang out and chill. Or maybe once I achieve XYZ, we can hang out and chill. But in the meantime, this is what I'm working on. Time wasters can be major energy leaks. I recall having a friend that would keep me on the phone for hours, And I would continuously say I needed to go, and she still wouldn't let me off the phone. And so what would happen is I would have goals. I would share these goals with her, and then she would keep me on the phone all day long to the point where by the time we got off, it was time for me to take a shower or cook dinner, take a shower, and go to bed. So I never really had time to get to the goals that I was interested in getting to. Now, this friend ended up getting cut off for other reasons, but whenever I considered kind of like phasing her back into my life, I looked up and I realized I had gotten so much done just in the 3 months that we hadn't been friends. And I thought to myself, I don't want to sacrifice going back to that old reality where I'm having to beg to get off the phone, or I'm feeling like it's a codependent relationship where if I don't call you one week, I'm in trouble. I'm good on that. I'm good on that. I need the space to breathe in my relationships and my friendships and everything I do. And I don't want to feel like I'm owned or that I owe anybody anything, especially when my whole, you know, my whole thought process is ascension. My whole thought process is the program. My whole thought process is the process that gets the results. And if you're hindering it, then I just can't have that. It's as simple as that. Now, I know that it can be easier said than done than to follow these steps, but these steps are going to help you. Making sure that you are implementing your pruning season and doing consistent check ins and making sure that you're watching for time wasters and distractions is what's going to get you to the space that you say that you want. And there comes a time in everybody's life where they have to decide, am I just BSing or am I serious about this thing? If you're serious about this thing, then you'll follow the process and take the steps that this thing requires. Each level requires something new. Each level has its own challenges and obstacles and difficulties. And you have to be the person who has enough discernment to see the situation and then arm yourself with what you need in order to master that particular level. Are you willing to do that? Sometimes it's a season in life where you're not willing to do that. Sometimes you just want to flow and just be. And I would rather a person be intentional about that than to be trying to do that while in the midst of actually going after a goal aggressively, because then it's kind of like a so-so. Like sometimes you're working towards it and sometimes you're not. Versus when you're really set and focused on something, everything you do, every move you make is in alignment with said goal. And that's just the way I work. I like to manifest fast. I like to collapse time fast. And so for some people, that's another thing. For some people, it's a lot. For some people, they do their best work whenever they're not, like whenever they're taking breaks and having lots of big breaks of rest. For me, I do better at focusing and hyper focusing and really doing what all I need to do in order to collapse this particular level, because I know that if I have consistent efforts and I have consistent like movements towards what I want, I can get it done quick. I'd rather get it done in freaking 7 days and collapse it quick than it takes 70 days and it's because I got the rest in between. Now, that may be a little, but I'm a manifester, like in general. I'm a projector in general. I project what it is that I am seeing and implementing. So I can't even, I have to be very mindful of what I'm setting my sights on. Whatever I set my sights on, typically a lot of times becomes what I project and what my reality is. So I sometimes I can't until I can learn a very healthy way of relaxing and then getting right back to it. I just can't do it. Even if I do relax, of course, because you got to relax and you got to have time to flow and stuff, but it has to be within structure. I'm a person who I love the structure of a thing, and then that allows me to flow within it. Like if I'm going on vacation, I need to know where I'm staying, when the flight is, what time we're leaving, who the driver is going to be to get us to our hotel or our Airbnb. I need to know what events we're going to do, what things was happening, anything special that's happening, anything we need to do in particular while we're there. And once I have that structure, then I can allow myself to flow in between the things that I know I have to do. Some people are completely different. I was just talking to a friend about this. She said she will schedule a whole whirlwind trip in a matter of like in 2 days, and she'll take off not even having an Airbnb or a hotel reserved because she knows there's going to be an Airbnb or a hotel there that she can get so she's not worried about it. I can't move like that. That gives me too much freaking anxiety because once I'm able to get that structure, then it would allow me to flow. So some people need the ability to just kind of flow chaotically. But one thing I learned about flow, because it is the feminine, is that flow, too much of the feminine can make it so that there's no structure, there's no order, and nothing actually gets done. So that is why I really appreciate mastering that, mastering the structure, mastering, how we do, what are we doing and how are we doing it and when are we doing it. And then I can allow the feminine to enter so that she can flow within it. So if this way sounds good to you, then you're going to really like my channel because I plan everything, including my life, around structure so that I can flow because I really do enjoy flow. But without structure, I can't do it. I can't even allow myself to rest without knowing that I have some type of container that I'm working within. Anyways, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you actually allow it to really resonate with you and understand that you're not a bad person because you are focused on your ascension journey. And it's going to be times where you just can't allow anyone to pull you down from where you are, and you can't afford to help everyone because everyone is not in the season of being helped. All right. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things that support a brand new channel. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, beautiful.